Hey there, I'm Elise and welcome back to my channel. So last time I talked about the different options you can find when looking for housing in Korea. If you missed that video, you can find a link in the description box down below. But there were more things that I wanted to say on the topic of housing in Korea. I just didn't think people want to watch super long videos. So today is a part 2 to that video. I'm saying video a lot. Let's try again. Today I'm going to talk about 10 things I learned while apartment hunting in Korea. But before I get into it, don't forget to follow me on Instagram for more advice, stories, and peeks into my real life in Korea. Okay, so prepare to learn some things you didn't know before apartment hunting in Korea. And for those of you out there who have never tried apartment hunting, prepare to know more than all your friends and have them be impressed with all your knowledge. You're welcome. So first thing I learned is how realty works in Korea. I know. This probably doesn't sound that amazing, but finding a place in Korea and finding a place in America are so different. I found it really like, what are we doing? My hair. So in the US, there's an owner and they show you the place and you sign the contract with them. Done. But in Korea, the job that usually gets done by one person in the US gets done by 3. The finding agent, the realtor, and the owner. So here's how it works. First, you contact the finding agent and you tell them, I want to live in blah blah neighborhood and I can pay this much deposit. Then they do all the work of finding the places that meet your criteria. Then they take you to view the places and you pick one. After that, their job is essentially finished. Next, you'll go to the realtor office that is in charge of taking care of that property. And they're kind of the go-between between you and the owner. They facilitate the contract signing. So you, like me, may never meet your owner, but you do know their contact information and their account information to make sure that you can pay rent. That's the most important thing. The end. Except not the end, because this stuff will all come up later as I continue to talk about the things I learned. Next, number 2. You have to pay a finder's fee whether you used a finding agent or not. So the finding agent I mentioned earlier is actually optional, but the finding fee you have to pay either way. You could go straight to the realty office yourself and they'll show you the properties that they have available. So potentially they'll be showing you just one place in one apartment, but for this you still have to pay a finding fee. This is how the agents and the realtors make their money. This is also why the realtors and the agents don't like each other. But you don't need to worry about that. What you need to worry about is that you have to pay this fee, so you should get your money's worth. How much is the fee? I'm glad you asked. It varies slightly depending on some calculations, but you shouldn't pay more than around 300,000 won. If you're being asked to pay something like 600,000 won, you should look carefully at the charges because I've heard some agents are trying to make extra money. But my agent was very honest about the price and the calculations. Just some bonus facts. 3. Deposits are sky high. So this part of renting in Korea really sucks, but it's better to know now than to come here with false hopes and dreams. Deposits in Korea, while slightly lowering, are still some of the highest that I've seen of any country's standards. Whether you're trying to live in Seoul or Busan or whatever, these deposit prices stay around the same even if the rent prices vary. If you somehow get out of paying this deposit, first of all, congratulations, and second of all, I hope your contract is legit. You'll get the deposit back when you move out, minus whatever rent you didn't pay and any damages you caused. So it's kind of cool, like forced savings. Next, number 4, it's okay not to pay rent. I just did air quotes, so obviously it's not 100% okay not to pay rent, but let me explain. So supposedly Korea used to have a huge problem with squatters. People were paying their deposit, moving in, but then they were never paying rent. And for some reason, it was hard to evict them. So the solution of the owners was to just raise the deposit so that they don't even technically need to collect rent. I don't recommend not paying rent every month, but you could get away with missing 2 or 3 months. You just won't get it back when the contract is finished. Number 5, viewings. Viewing does not mean viewing a clean, empty apartment. Guys, I was shook when my agent took me to an apartment and this person had dirty, nasty dishes in the sink, dirty, nasty laundry on their bed, and their dog just took a literal on the pee-pee pad. I mean, I love dogs, but if you know somebody's gonna be coming to view your place, wouldn't you pick that up? And guys, I'm looking on like the go-to apartment hunting websites. Why are they posting pictures that look like these places are occupied by hoarders? But apparently this is normal, and that's what I learned. Be prepared to see the forest for the trees, as they say. Like, you need to have your visualization glasses on. And I did not have mine on that day, so I ended up moving into a place where the tenants were in the process of packing up their stuff. It was pretty empty. Alright, next, number 6. Apartment listings are expectations. I said that weird. Expectations versus reality. Unfortunately, a lot of realtors are posting what I call bait photos. They show really nice places, but they were probably sold months before the posting. So what they want is for you to get interested in a place and then contact them. Then when you go to see the place, it'll be a different place, just whatever was available at that time. So really, there's no point in falling in love with a place that you haven't even seen yet, or just don't even have expectations to see the place that you liked in the photo. So rather than putting a lot of time into finding a place that fits your every requirement while you're on these apps or on these websites, I suggest looking into what kinds of places this particular realtor usually has to offer. Like, if they're usually offering very clean places or very nice looking places, then that's probably what they're going to show you when you go. Okay, so next, number 7. Cleaning requests are okay and expected. So before you move into a place, if it wasn't already cleaned before you moved in, you can request for it to be cleaned beforehand. All you need to do is, while you're viewing the place, let your agent and the realtor know what things that you're not okay with, or like what things you want to be cleaned, and then they'll make a note of it and put in a maintenance request. Money-wise, it's the responsibility of the owner to make sure that this gets done, but it's the responsibility of the tenant to request that it gets done. When I went to see my apartment, there were coffee stains on the wall, and the washing machine was pooling water, but the realtor just contacted the maintenance crew, or AS in Korean, and then it got taken care of before I moved in, so there you go. 8. Foreigner rejection is still a thing. This might sound really sad and daunting, but honestly, when it happened to me, I wasn't that upset. I had narrowed my choices down to 3 places in the same building, so when one of them didn't work out, I was just like, okay, let's sign with the other owner. Basically, the first owner I wanted to sign with rejected my contract request because I wasn't Korean. So originally he didn't have a problem with it, but supposedly his wife talked him out of it, and the reason was that if something were to happen, I couldn't speak Korean, and so it was going to be too complicated. The thing is, I can speak Korean, and this is something that both my agent and the realtor told to the owner over and over, but he just was not having it, and so I let it go. The realtor and the agent were so upset and so apologetic, but at the end of the day, it's the owner's choice who they choose to rent to. I've told my Korean friends about this, and they tell me that this is not very common anymore. Like, back in the day, I guess you could hear of foreigners being rejected for a place pretty often, but these days, the only thing that most owners care about is, can you pay the deposit, can you pay the rent? Good. 9. You need to watch out for tax evading owners. So this was the most alarming part of my whole apartment hunting experience. Like, 큰일 뻔했어. I had viewed a place, I was in love, and then the realtor called the owner and he was like, yeah, I'll rent to her, but she can't write her address on official documents. What? I need to write my address on immigration documents. I need to write my address on school documents. Why I can't write my address? And then I called my Korean friend to see if this was normal, and he was like, don't sign that contract. Elise, don't do it. So it turns out this owner wanted to evade his taxes, basically. In Korea, or I guess in the world, I don't know, I'm not a realtor. My dad would be very upset if he found out that I don't know this, because he is a realtor. But anyway, you have to pay a tax if somebody is actually living in your place, but if nobody's living in there, you don't have to pay this tax. And so this is the reason that he didn't want me to write my address down on any official documents, because he was gonna get caught for tax evasion. Apparently this is a very common thing and some people are okay with this, but this is very bad for you as a foreigner, if you are a foreigner, I'm assuming, because you can't not write down where you live. Immigration needs to know your real address. So if this comes up during the process of you getting an apartment, you need to just turn that one down. Number 10, and let's end this one on a high note. Getting an apartment in Korea is easy and fast. Some of you might think this sounds strange after all the points that I've made so far, but I really believe that this is true. Korea has several very comprehensive apps for finding housing in Korea. The one that I prefer, and I think most people prefer, is Zigbang. I can talk about Zigbang in another video, like specifically how to use it. You're gonna need to know some Korean first, so that's for another time. But for now, I just want to say that it's so easy to find the places. If you wanted to, you could find the place, go to the realtor, go look at the place, sign the contract, pay the deposit, and move in all in the same day. Again, if you wanted to. It seemed complicated as I was doing it, but that's just because I didn't really know what was going on. Also because the place that I had chosen to move into was still occupied by someone, so I had to coordinate with them when they were going to move in, when they were going to move out, and when I was going to move in. But at the end of the whole process, I really thought that it was easy, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. Hashtag done with dorm life, hashtag not about this. Alright, well, I hope this video helped shine a little bit more light on the highs and lows of looking for housing in Korea. All of this was based on my personal experience, but I tried to fill in all the facts. But if you think I left something out, or if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below. As always, thanks for watching my videos, and don't forget to like on your way out. Bye! 다음에 봐요!